Today we're going to talk about some of the advanced features dealing with forms. Now, we started an application called Project Management in the previous video, and there's a few things I just want to clean up on the live mode here. For one, this is a project management, but we created the employee first, so that became our first tab. We want to rearrange that, do a couple other things just to make this a little more practical. So first we're going to go into edit this application, and we're going to come down to settings, and we're going to go to sections, which is our navigation bar. So I want to put the project ahead of the employees, and I actually don't need to have separate links to add an employee or add a project. So I'm going to create a new section called hidden. Let me save that. All right, and I'm going to drag the employee form and the project form into this hidden section, and I'm going to hide it. Okay, and this leaves us with our the two reports. So let me go back to the live mode, and it just came up with this because that's where we had left off. It knows to come back to where you left off. But this is the way the project actually looks now. So here we have our list of projects, and here we have our list of employees. And if I need to, if I need to add a new employee, I can just click on the add instead of going to a whole new form. So here we can do. Here's Joan Jones, and and Joan is a full-time person. I don't have a status date, and we'll call technical writer and tester. Okay, so you can see we don't need a separate tab to add a form. It just kind of clutters up our menu structure. And in this particular application, there's hardly any items. But if you have a complex application, you'll have multiple tabs and multiple sub-tabs, and being able to eliminate some of them becomes very useful. All right, so let's go back into edit the application. And I want to modify the project. We're actually looking at the employee. I want to modify the project form. We have a nice little drop down of the forms, reports, and pages. And so I'm going to go to forms, and I'm going to go to the project. Now on the project, we want to make this a little prettier. So I'm going to add a note field, and I'm going to bring this up here. And a note field is not a data entry field. It's an area to add additional information onto your screen. So we're going to call this contact information, and we'll actually put a couple of dashes in front and back. And we're going to make this blue, and we will make it just a little larger. Yeah, so let's make the font just a little larger. Okay, and now if I go into live mode, you can see we have something that separates the contact information from the rest of it. Once again, we have a fairly simple form, so it doesn't bias much, but if you have a complicated form, it's nice to make the various sections easier to find. Okay. Now, because this is a project, we want to add some information about the project, some generic information. We have a description field for the details, but what kind of a project is it? And we can have different types here. So I want to add a multi-list checkbox. So I'm going to put that over here, and we're going to call this project type, and it could be a Zoho database, it could be a website, it could be training. Okay, and I could hit the plus sign for additional items if needed. And I can have these listed one above the other, or we can make it 2 columns, or we can make it 3 columns. Okay. And if I go back into the application, you can see we have our choices. And maybe this is a project that's both a database and a website, or maybe it's training, but nothing else. So we've made a multi-select checkbox list, which means that we can allow for different choices but not lock people into one choice. Now, related to that is a multi-select for additional employees. Now, this could be other people who are going to be assisting on the project. So I'm going to do a lookup. And we're going to do a lookup to the employee table. We want to look up to their name, but we don't want to do a drop down, which is what we did for the assign to. But we want to do a multi-select. Now it could be a multi-select or a multi-select checkbox, either one. We're going to assume there is a large number of employees, in which case we don't want to do a checkbox for each employee. Okay. All right, so you can see we have our field choices here. We have search and autocomplete, and we've seen that before, but I'll show that one more time. It's in alphabetic order, and we want to set a filter. And it's giving us a list of all of the fields from the employee table, and we want to do status, and is not equal to inactive. We actually have a field that has choices of a full-time employee, part-time employee, or inactive, and we don't need to see the list of inactive employees. So let me show you how that works. Okay, so here's our additional employees. Okay, now we could list as many as we want here, or if I've selected somebody I don't really need, we can just undo that. So you can have your assigned to and additional employees all on the same project. Okay, let's go back in and edit this form. And one of the other things that's useful in the contact information about the company is their website. So let's add the URL to this company's website. And here we get a choice of when they click on the link, once you've added the link to their website in this form, what do you want to happen when they click on it? It can open up into a new window or the same window, meaning that if you're on a form and you click on it, it overwrites that form or that report, or it can open it in a new window, which is what we're going to want. And we're going to want this to be at least medium. Okay. And we have a choice for the link name or the title. I don't need a title, but I do want the link name. Okay. All right. And just to save some time, I'm going to also add one more for a file upload. So this goes along with the description. We might have a document that has more detail about this particular project. So we're going to do a file upload. Maybe it's a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. All right. So let's see how these work. Now I'm going to go right to the project tab and modify the form that the company we've already set up. So let me just go in and edit this. And we're going to look at these new fields. Okay, so we have a URL, and probably should have named that company website, but we'll just put in preventingmediocrity.com, and we're going to call that the full name. Okay, and on the file upload, we have a test document, and we'll just open that. Okay, and let's select Joan and John as additional employees. on this project. Okay, now you can see we have a link to the URL, and if I click on that, it opens up that website in another tab in the browser. And I'll just come right back to our project. We also have the test document. If I click on that, we'll, in this particular computer, Word would open up, and we'd be able to see the text of that document. And we also can see the employee. So here we have several additional features that are very useful within the project. Let me do one more thing here, and we're going to edit the report itself. So I go to the column properties, and you can see the assigned to has a link symbol, and so does the employee. And I'm going to click on the employee, and we have an option of associating the employee with a particular view of the employee information, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, now the employees' names are now in a blue, and they're now hyperlinks. So if I click on the name, I will get the details about that employee. So here's John Smith, the hire date, the email, and now I'll highlight Joan, and I can see her email as well. So, and if I click on the email, it would open up my email management, and I'd be able to send an email to that person. So you do get a lot of flexibility here, and you can see here's the original assigned to, and on the assigned to employee, we included their email here. We could do the same thing here, but of course we want to save some space, and most communication would be to the project leader. We just need to know who else is on this particular project. So you can see there's a lot of flexibility in both designing the forms and working with the views of that information, or the report of that information. So once again, I hope that all of your information is well organized. Thank you.